right away. You see on the map, very simple to orientate yourself today. We are situated here on the Waal River, and there's the long promenade. People drinking local Dutch beers like Heineken, Walsh, as you can see here. This is a good spot to give you a very brief overview over the history of this town. First of all, I must again say the same things as I started with yesterday when I told you about Bonn. Also Nijmegen was badly destroyed in the Second World War. So what you will be seeing is mostly the reconstruction work after the Second World War. Why was Nijmegen bombed, although it was not a part of Germany? A very unlucky event hit the city. 20th February of 1944, a massive air raid was flown accidentally against Nijmegen. The pilots thought they were already over the German city of Greve. They bombed the city and almost the entire old town of Nijmegen was destroyed. 800 people died in this accident bombing attack, which was very unlucky actually for Nijmegen. But you can see one structure, basically the only structure in the old town surviving, was this important bridge there. And as you know, later on, this was in February 1944, later on in September, this area became one of the most important areas in the Second World War when it comes to creating this breakthrough into German territory. You've heard about the Battle of the Bulge, that was later. But here, in September 1944, Field Marshal Montgomery from Britain, he came up with the plan to finally get into German territory here from the north and grab all the industrial areas in the Ruhr area of Germany, and by doing so, really cutting off the supply of Nazi Germany. He set up the plan, and together with Polish troops and of course the US Army, Operation Market Garden was started 1944. This area here was mostly the area of the United States forces, and their target was actually to come to parachute in the area here. Those of you going on the optional tour this afternoon, you will see it actually in real form. The idea was to send paratroops down in massive numbers and then approach here from the south, take the bridge if possible intact, and get over here to this side, get the Nazis out of Nijmegen. That was the idea. The British should be a little bit north from here, in the city of Arnhem, where an even more important bridge needed to be taken. And the events went along quite well. Here on this side, although heavy fighting took place, but the American army managed to capture this bridge that you can see there intact and really kick the Nazis out of here. But the British, a little bit north, were not so successful at the bridge of Arnhem. They saw fierce resistance there, and that is what you know in the historic annals as the bridge too far.
Right.
They did not manage to capture this bridge. That means here was the new borderline, although Montgomery said afterwards it was a success. It was not really, I must tell you. The loss of lives were dramatic. Nevertheless, the southern parts of the Netherlands, where we are, they were liberated by this event. But and of course, many of the Dutch the Dutch citizens supported, of course, the Allied troops, and the retaliation of Nazi Germany was brutal. They, in order to retaliate, declared a food blockade on the northern part of the Netherlands. And in the last month of the Second World War, more than 25,000 people starved to death out of there. And the Prince of the Netherlands, or the King at this time, he actually said, our country cannot afford another victorious campaign of Mr. Montgomery, otherwise they would starve to death here. So the southern part was liberated, but it was not possible yet for the Allied troops to manage to get this spearhead into German territory. Well, anyway, this is, so here you can see the entrance into the Holland Casino. And cross the border and gamble here, as the gambling laws in the Netherlands. Very south of the Netherlands, in the province of Groningen. 12 provinces form this tiny little country, and we call the Netherlands. Why is it always called Holland, I was asked? Well, permanently stationed. So, very old. But what happened to this camp? Well,
Just a second.
So the Dutch just love to do those, and you can have one for 210, and it's a big one. You can see how the gentleman, always euros, of course, because we are still in the Eurozone, so the gentleman is just making them fresh. Those typical brown Dutch cafes. The Dutch love these brown cafes. They're usually made out of wood, and then the people just sit in there and have a beer or a coffee or what have you, and just watch the world go by. So if you want to do it the Dutch way, these are the typical Dutch brown cafes, as they call them. But be prepared. There,
That cheese.
Can we bring?
yes, you. I think you can bring home, but you have to really seal it nicely, yeah, like in a plastic
Buy the whole
bag.
thing.
Here you can see them all. Usually, the most popular one are Gouda cheeses here, which can be old and new. And but the gentleman does speak English, so if you want to know about more about those lovely ones, fish. The most, well, the biggest specialty here. Where is it? Here you can see it. Herrings. They're not out yet, but I'm sure the gentleman.
Herring. Herring.
I'm gonna ask the gentleman if he has some for you later. Sorry, have you got herrings? Yeah, you do. Okay. Well, he's just preparing them. I'm quite happy. Otherwise, I had to do a demonstration. Right? You can always come back with a specialty here. It's a raw herring. A raw fresh herring. The best herring, by the way, always the green.
Thank you.
Hi.
Where's the herring?
Not yet.
Not yet?
And you put lots of onion. No? Take it by the tail. It all goes in. And then you could go into one of those cafes and have a Dutch gin, a beer, or a Geneva. That's usually what the people drink afterwards. A nice little brandy or schnapps to, you know, digest it. Alright, I see you're not so convinced about my ideas here, but just to let you know how we would do it here.
Alex, you want a demo for us?
Yeah, it's not, he doesn't have one yet, but otherwise I might do one.
We'll wait, we'll wait.
Here in Nijmegen, but she was a sinful girl, I must tell you. For 7 years she sinned. I don't even want to go into detail. Anyway, so she followed the devil, but after 7 years she finally decided to change her course of life after she has been to the church, which I will show you in a minute. So she changed her ways, and the Pope gave orders directly to punish her for her 7 years of sinful life by putting those chains around the wrists of her arms. And after her sin, her what we call Repentance Day was over, miraculously those chains opened without having to be opened with a key, because she truly changed in her heart to a very lovely girl.